Kansas is looking at passing legislation to limit welfare recipients from doing things like going to the movies, going swimming, and doing other things, going to strip clubs with their welfare benefits. Oh, this is fascinating. Okay. Well, this is House Bill. This is called House Bill 2258. And if signed, Kansas families receiving government assistance will no longer be able to use those funds to visit swimming pools, see movies, go gambling, because we all know those poor people love to go to that casino, or get tattoos with those benefits. Interesting. Now, who advanced this bill? Well, this comes from State Senator Michael O'Donnell, who is a Republican in Wichita, and he has advocated for this bill. And he said that this legislation is designed to pressure those receiving welfare benefits, or the TAMP program, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, to spend more responsibly. I've got a few issues with the whole premise of this bill, but before I get into those, I kind of want to address what else it says you can't do with that money. Now, you cannot spend money on body piercings, massages, spas, tobacco, nail salons, lingerie, arcades, cruise ships, or visits to your local psychic. Miss Cleo, you're just going to have to wait. And also, and I think this is the most limiting part, is that you can only withdraw about $25. You can't withdraw more than $25 per day from ATMs. It also forbids more spending from theme parks, dog or horse racing facilities, pari-mutuel facilities, or sexual-oriented businesses such as strip clubs, essentially. Interesting. Interesting that they have all of these things on there. And I kind of want to get to why. You see, going back to, we just want to help people spend their money more responsibly. Now, this goes back to a perception, which is different than reality, that poor people are poor because they mismanage their money. That all of them, you're only on welfare because you don't know how to spend your money properly. Or you can't find a job. You're an irresponsible person. That's why you're on welfare. And so we're going to help you spend more responsibly. Well, I assure you, I don't think I know anybody out there that uses their welfare money to go to the casino or a strip club. That's generally not what happens, and I have some facts and data to back that up, which is a lot more than I could say about the Republicans that are advancing this bill. The problem with this, like I said, is that the assumption that people on welfare are irresponsible people, and that's why they're on welfare. Not exactly. Now, the average welfare recipient gets about $497 per month under certain high-cost counties in Kansas, but no more than $454 in lower-cost locales. So you get about $400 to $500 a month. Not exactly a lot to bring to a casino or a spa or anything, nail salon, whatever. Cruise ship, really? Cruise ship? Okay, you're going to say you guys can't go on a cruise ship. You can't afford a ticket to a cruise ship, as far as I know, on $500. Now, these people are on welfare, so obviously that means that they don't have really any sources of significant income. So if you're blowing it all on a cruise ship, you got some major problems. But studies suggest, and data and facts actually suggest, that that's not the case. They're not blowing it on cruise ships or strip clubs or anything like that. No. According to some of this data, and this is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, families who receive public benefits such as housing assistance, welfare cash assistance, food stamps, Medicaid, and Social Security income for the disabled or low-income elderly have a much smaller spending budget than those who don't receive and spend a bigger portion on the basics such as food, housing, and transportation. Meaning, they don't have a lot of money. That's why they're on welfare, and they spend a majority of that keeping a roof above their heads and food in their bellies. And of course, transportation to try and look for jobs. That's when they have cars. And they have vehicles at a much lower rate than people who are not on assistance. On average, and this is reported in Think Progress, families who are enrolled in these public programs spend less than half of what families who aren't enrolled spend. They also put a bigger percentage of that money towards food, housing, and transportation. Well, how much? How much of their budget gets put towards those very basic needs? About 77% of their budgets go to these necessities. Well, what about compared to families who are not in assistance? Well, only 65% of their budgets are devoted to essentials. Meanwhile, they spend less, on average, of some things thought to be luxuries like entertainment or eating out. Now, a family that doesn't get benefits spends about 4.5% of its budgets on food away from home. So you go out to eat. You go out to a restaurant, you spend $20-30 on a meal. You spend some time with your SO. You have a little fun. You get outside the house. People who aren't on assistance obviously do that a lot more, or can do that more, than people who are on assistance. A two-parent family who gets benefits spends about 4% of its budget on eating out. Now, this doesn't exactly specify what eating out is. Now, I gave you the example of a family, of a couple that goes out to eat at a nice restaurant, spends $20-30, right? Eating out could be getting a Happy Meal at McDonald's or shopping from the dollar menu. Not exactly gourmet eating, but it is cheap. Kind of makes sense. Cheap food, cheap processed food happens to be cheaper than better food. Than, organic vegetables or what have you. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that if they're going to eat out, they're going to get stuff like, chicken sandwiches from McDonald's for $1 or a $5 pizza to feed the family. Makes a little bit more sense. Okay, now we continue. A single parent spends about 3.6% of its budget on eating out. Food away from home spending was higher in both dollar amount and percent of total spending among families not receiving public assistance. Makes sense. It further notes, families who don't need assistance also spend more on entertainment in both dollar and percentage terms and devote more of their budgets to quote-unquote other expenses. So no, poor people are not going out to the strip club. They're not going out to the movies all the time. They're not going and doing all this fun stuff that you decided that you want to ban poor people from doing. They're not doing that because they don't have the money to do so. They're devoting more of their budget to actually, surviving. For example, there's more. You see, a lot of poor families don't have vehicles. And this addresses this as well. Just 3% of families who don't get benefits went without a car. So most people who don't have benefits have a vehicle. Makes sense. They gotta have a vehicle to get to work. They get to work, they make money. Okay, makes sense. Everybody knows it. Nearly a quarter of those people who are on public assistance rolls don't have access to a vehicle. They don't have a car. 25%. More than 25%. Don't have access to a vehicle. So if you don't have access to a vehicle, odds are you're not going to drive up to the casino. I guess you could walk. I guess. But it seems rather unlikely. They don't have a vehicle. They're not going to go out to the cruise ship. So this kind of brings me to the whole purpose of this law. Actually, before I get to that, there is one more thing. Most people who are on a public assistance also don't own homes. That also makes sense. So they're spending money on rent. They don't have assets. Home is one of the biggest assets that somebody can have, somebody can own. If you're poor, odds are you don't have a home of your own. You're renting, which means your rent can be adjusted at any time, can be raised at any time, lowered at any time, whatever. Most likely it goes up. So that could even be more of a significant drain on your monthly resources than if you own a home and if you've paid your mortgage, etc. Like a lot of people who aren't on assistance. So we'll keep that in mind. Like you should keep that in mind. Which brings me to the whole point of this bill. which is what I want to address, it's a slap in the face. It's casting aspersions upon the poor, of saying that you are lazy, you will waste your money unless you have big government come in and tell you how to spend your money. Because we know you'll be irresponsible with it, because if you were a responsible adult, obviously you wouldn't be on public assistance. Because responsible adults don't get suddenly ill and lose their job. Responsible adults don't lose their job because of outsourcing. No, that's not what happens to responsible adults, i.e. rich people. That's not what happens. No. Only because you're lazy, only because you're not hardworking. That's why you're poor. And so obviously you're not responsible, so we have to tell you what you can and cannot spend your money on. And the data says that poor people aren't spending money on these things. So it really is about demonization of the most vulnerable. We're attacking the most vulnerable because they're an easy target. This is nothing more than saying out to the right-wing base, I'm taking care of those welfare queens. They're not going to go to the casino on your dime. That's pretty much it. It's a slap in the face. And it's just another slap in the face in a long line of people discriminating against people who are poor and assuming that they are less than human, that they are lazy, and that there's something wrong with them because they need a little bit of help.